Alright guys, I kind of want to make a quick video, yeah, just for fun. So I'm rebuilding the front end of my truck. It's a 95 GMC K1500, so four-wheel drive and all that stuff. A lot of people struggle with getting these rivets out in the upper ball joint. I did. It was a pain in the butt. So what I did on them, found a little trick that works really well, is I ground the top of the rivet off here. Then I took and I actually cut a little groove in here and then ran my chisel in there. Ran my chisel in the groove right here until it basically pried that ball joint up, and I peeled it off of the studs here. You see these here, and I'll talk about the drill in a minute. Peel that off of there. And then I actually took and I ground off what was sticking up. You can hit them with a hammer and try to drive them down. You may or may not have any luck. Then what I did is I took what was left. You can see here what I did is I drilled out the center of it. So this was sticking up. This was sticking up through the A-arm here. I drilled out the center of it. Took a 2x4. I wedged it between the upper A-arm here and the floor. I wedged it in there, which gave me a pretty solid place to pound on. Then I was able to take a punch. This isn't the greatest punch, this is what I used. Take a punch, stick it down that hole, and drive it out. The principle and theory behind it, basically the science behind why this works so well, is when you drill out the center of the pin, you release all the pressure that's holding the pin against the outside of the hole, so it actually loosens it up, and you drive it out, so it creates a very thin band around there. You essentially drill the pin out. The best thing to do is to center punch them. I was a little off center on that one. It was pretty good. I ended up going up to a 1/4 inch drill bit. What you want to avoid doing is this right here. You see it? I got a little close to the edge on that one. It actually ended up being okay. I didn't get into my A-arm more than I'm worried about. I'll drive it just fine. I'm not worried about it. But little tip for pulling those upper ball joints off there. They really are a pain in the butt. But yeah. So just to recap, what you do is you grind the top of the rivets off here. If you're real good with a grinder, you can slide a thin set wheel. Basically, run your thin set grinder wheel. You can run it in there, and you can cut off those pins. Don't know that I recommend doing that because you can cut into your A-arm here and damage it. But yeah, do what you want, right? Then you get the pins down to here. You center punch the pin here. Drill a small hole in it. Then drill a little bit larger hole. Work your way up. Just make sure you're not drilling into the A-arm. You want to drill as much of the pin out as possible without drilling into the A-arm. Take a punch, knock them through. Take a 2x4, wedge it up between the. I grab my 2x4 here. Wedge it up underneath here. Similar to that, you want to set the 2x4 as close to the pin as possible, so you don't get the flex. So the arm isn't sitting here flexing when you're pounding on it. You get it real close to that pin. You get it in there real tight. It'll knock them right out. It took me probably 15 minutes to knock all three of those out between drilling and punching them out. It was not too bad. So there's a little tip and trick for you on how to take those upper ball joints out. So, yep, I'm working on a rebuild, so love my truck. Thanks, guys.